everybody, this is Heather Sides. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up! And I come to you weekly every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time to do an online card making class. And we typically make 3 cards or projects or something of that nature using the Stampin' Up! Products. So give me a second, I want to get my computer set up so that I can see your comments as we go through the evening. Let's see here. Oops, hang on. Oops. Okay, had to put my computer on mute so we didn't have a little bit of stereo going on here. So let's see, give it a minute or so for people to catch up and join us. So Sunday was Mother's Day, and my stepson, who lives in Texas, he just turned 20, did the coolest thing for me for Mother's Day. He sent me some flowers, but instead of sending them through a florist, this is the best. He sent them through DoorDash because then he could add ice cream to it, because he ordered the flowers from a local grocery store and out of their floral department, and then just added the ice cream to it. I thought that is absolutely brilliant. So that was by far the coolest thing. So that was cool. And then also on Sunday, my mom had a ticket to Hamilton, and she had to have a hernia surgery on Wednesday. And so come Sunday, she wasn't quite ready to be out and about yet and doing stuff. So I got her ticket. And I hadn't seen Hamilton before. Even when they had it out on Disney and you could watch it, I hadn't seen it. So that was kind of cool that I got to go and finally get to see it. And it was, of course, amazing, as everybody has said it is. There's a reason it won a ton of awards. So my Mother's Day was actually pretty good. Hey, Robin, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. So that's how my Mother's Day went. And then, back to the grindstone on Monday. That's just kind of the way things go. So, that's really all I have to report this week. But I did want to give props to my stepson for his creative Mother's Day delivery idea. Like I said, I just think that's brilliant. But, anybody who knows me, you give me ice cream and, you are forever in my good graces, because I kind of like my ice cream a lot. So anyway, I have some really cute cards for you this week. I'm excited. The new catalog kicked off last week. And so I have started using some of the new stuff for cards, creating last week I had some of the in-color products, but I didn't really have much more than that. This week I have a lot more of the new stuff and was able to create some fun things for you, so I'm excited to share those. So let's go ahead and get the camera turned around and go over a couple of housekeeping things, and then we'll get started on the cards. Just a reminder that when you participate in the conversation, or even just say, hey, this is so-and-so from such and such a place, I wanted to say hello. Any kind of comment you leave will get you put into the drawing, which I will award the prize in next week's live. So I encourage you to participate in conversation during the live. But even if you are watching this on a replay on YouTube or on Facebook, leave a comment. I love to hear who's here, who's been watching, that kind of thing. Ask your questions, make comments, whatever you like. And I don't do the drawing until the afternoon of the next live, so next Wednesday afternoon. So like I said, even if you're watching on a replay, make sure you leave a comment, because that will get you entered into the drawing. So go ahead and give me a moment to get this camera turned around, and we'll get started. Hey Mary, welcome. Mary is in South Dakota. Wow. What's your weather like there right now? Get my camera kind of straightened out here. My son was playing with my stand earlier, so it's kind of off. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to move back just a little so that you can see everything here. Move this back a little. There we go. Okay, so first thing I want to remind you, if you aren't already a demonstrator and you are interested in joining my team, whether you want to just be a discount shopper where you can buy all your stuff at a discount and never have to sell a thing, or if you're interested in starting a business or anywhere in between, May is a great month to join because Stampin' Up! Is offering a promotion where you get a little over $200. I think I figured out, is it about $250 maybe worth of products for $99. For $99, you get to pick $125 worth of products of your choice. You also get a free paper pumpkin kit. You also get the business supplies, about $35, I think it was, worth of business supplies to get yourself started if you choose to go that route. And then you also get this amazing package of new in-color stuff. Hey, Marcy, welcome. You get the new in-color stamp pads. You get a paper pack. You get a designer series pack. And then there's a fourth thing that you get, and I forget what it is. You get paper, designer series paper, you get ink pads, and it might be the Stampin' Blends, I think, that you get. So you get like $60 worth of stuff in addition to your amazing kit. Oh, the grid paper, that's right, Robin. You get the grid paper that's like this, only it's got really pretty designs off to the side in the in colors, in the new in colors. So what a great way to get started. So if you are interested in joining my team, like I said, at any level, whether that's a discount stamper up to wanting to start a business, you can contact me. I'm happy to answer any questions you have, or you can go to my website, Heathersides at heathersides.stampinup.net, and you can find out more information about that, or you can just sign up directly right there on my website. So that is what's in store if you are interested. I don't remember if I greeted Tracy yet. Hey, Tracy, welcome. Just a reminder, as I mentioned earlier, the new annual catalog kicked off last week, and there is some really, really amazing stuff in here. So if you need a new catalog, if you need one of our January through June mini catalogs as well, let me know and I'm happy to send one out. And you can either contact me through email at stamphappenings@gmail.com, or you can send me a comment on here on Facebook. That works too. Well, I'm glad you slipped in, Tracy. Welcome. So let's move this stuff out of the way and let's go ahead and get started. Oh, we have our drawing from last week. Everybody who watched the video, whether live or recorded, and watched it on replay and left me a comment, your name went into the drawing. And I have this Darling Donkeys stamp set to give away. Some of you may remember this from Celebration. Oh, I think it was last spring, a year ago spring. And our winner this week is Colleen Fitzgerald Buttery. And she's usually on here each week, so hopefully she'll see this and know that she won. Colleen, I don't have your mailing information. So if you will send me a message either here on Facebook or at my email, send me a message and let me know your mailing address, I will get this popped in the mail to you. Hey, Kathy, welcome. Yes, Marcy, I agree. I think this is an adorable stamp set and I was kind of sad to see it go. But it was a lot of fun to get to play with it. Okay, so let's get going. I'm going to start with card number 1. And this card uses the This Birthday Piggy stamp set. I had to buy this one because my mom collects flying pigs. So now I just need to find some angel wings to put on these little pigs, or I need to learn to draw. So I don't know that I see that actually in my future, learning to draw, but you know, we'll see what happens. But it's so cute, these little fat piggies. Hey Kathy, welcome. Thanks for joining us. So anyway, so this is the card, the stamp set we're going to use for this first card. Let me show it to you. I used the designer series paper that is this year's paper selection in the Stampin' Rewards. So it's a great pack, lots of different patterns and colors. One thing that's different about this year's pack than last year's pack, all of the papers coordinate with one another and they're all in the same kind of color family. So it's kind of nice to be able to mix and match a little bit more. Mercy says she loves this stamp set and she played around with coloring it yesterday. Yeah, I think we're going to be able to do a lot of really cute things with it. So this is the card we're making today. There's the inside of it. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll start with our envelope. Let's pull everything out here. Okay, so here I have my designer series paper for the flap of the envelope, and Kathy says she has this set coming on Friday. Well, I can't wait to hear what you think of it once you get a chance to play with it. The strip that I cut for the flap of my envelope is 2.5 by 6 inches long. It makes it it's a little bit of excess, so it's a little bigger than what I actually need, but then I can put it on there pretty quickly and easily. I think I put the glue on a little thick around the edge there, but we'll work with that anyway. It doesn't really need a whole lot of glue. Our liquid Tombow glue works so well, and a little goes a very long way. So you don't necessarily need as much as I put on there. Now I have glue all over my fingers. So now I'm going to just trim off the extra, and then we'll set it aside so that it can dry. The other thing about if you use too much glue is it does kind of make your paper buckle and warp a little bit, which I don't particularly care for. So there we go. We have the excess cut off, and there's our envelope. Let's move these out of the way. How old is your daughter, Robin? Robin says her daughter loves the little piggies. Have a half a sheet of basic white cardstock. This is 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. Let's go ahead and make a nice sharp crease there with the bone folder. And these first layers, I'm going to go ahead and just glue these down to get them ready. I'm not going to be stamping on them, so we might as well get them adhered so that, so I don't lose them. Being honest, so I don't lose them. And this is, as I said, the designer series paper that is the host pack. And the background piece here that I've done the edges with, this is Petal Pink. So let's go ahead and glue this one down. And then we'll do the inside of the card too, because that's pretty quick and easy. Make sure your margins are relatively the same all the way around. Then we'll do the inside, and I just have this little strip for the inside. So I'm gonna just put a little bit of adhesive on this strip. And I'm centering it on the little piece of Petal Pink here. They're both a little longer than what I need. So that's why I'm not worried about the fact that I'm going over the edge or you know, how it's lined up horizontally. Okay, so we've got that. Now let's go ahead and stick it onto our card. And I'm just doing it kind of up and down the side here. Just like that. Oh, Marcy has this host paper coming tomorrow. I really, really, really like it, Marcy. And some of it is fun and some of it is pretty. Today I'm using the fun stuff, but I really was impressed with it. I like it a lot. And I like the colors. Okay, so now let's stamp the inside with Hope It's the Best, because on the front we're going to say this little piggy says happy birthday. Okay, so for this I'm just using my black Memento ink. Let's put it right in the middle. There we go. And clean off my stamp. So I told you guys about my Mother's Day. What about you guys? Did anybody do anything really fun, or did they have someone do something really fun for them? Okay, now I've got these 3 pieces. Well, 4 actually. These 2 are going to layer like this, and then we're just going to fan them out a little bit like this and mount them right onto the card like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and start by stamping the piggy and the sentiment. And we're going to use Stampin' Blends to color him. Well, I assume he's a him. He could be a her. Okay, now let's go ahead. I'm stamping this kind of toward the top so that there is more room for the message, the sentiment at the bottom. Okay. Stamp the sentiment now. Oh, it's a little bit crooked. Darn it. Well, I suppose I'll live. Okay, now I want to close this ink pad up before I do something dangerous, which just leaving it out and uncovered is dangerous for me. So now let's go ahead, and I've got a few different colors we're going to use here. I have my Daffodil Delight in the dark and the light, and I have Pool Party in the dark and the light. I have the dark pumpkin pie. No, I lied. It's the light pumpkin pie. And then I also have the light and dark petal pink. So let's go ahead and color this really quick. I like to use the dark right around the outer edges of my image. And you know, Stampin' Up! Makes it kind of easy for us in that they provide lines and such that represent shading. So we know where to make it lighter, where to make it darker, and you don't have to, you know, have a degree in artistry to be able to do it, which is good because I do not have a degree in artistry. Okay, so now I'm just filling it in with my light, but I really want to get around the edges here where that dark is and pull it in so that it blends a little better. Now, one thing about the blender pens or the Stampin' Blends is the longer it sits, as it soaks into the paper, it will blend even more. So I tend to do my dark and my light and then let it sit and go to the other parts that I'm coloring. And then if I decide it needs some more dark around the edges or more light or whatever, then I'll go back to it. But let it soak in a little bit first so you get a better idea of how it looks and what you like. Now, let's go ahead and get started on the cake. because I did find on the cake, I wanted to go back, and these little swirlies on the cake, I did go back and do them a second time to make them just a little bit darker so they stood out a little bit more. Oh, and I also am going to use the light smoky slate. We'll do that really quick to color my plate. Okay. And I'm also going to use, oh, you know what? I got the crumb cake out to do the dirt underneath him and forgot to do it on my first card, but we'll do it on this one. And then for the candle, what I did here is I used the pumpkin pie for the flame. And I used my dark Daffodil Delight for the candle itself. Then I'm going to take my light Pool Party and color my cake. And I'm not trying to blend in the dark on this one because I wanted those little swirlies, the frosting, to stand out. And as you can see, it does still blend in a little bit, which is why I will come back to it and do the dark swirlies a second time to make them stand out just a little bit more. Okay, so I'm going to use my smoky slate to do his little feet. Okay, now let's do a little bit of the ground he's sitting on. I'm using the brush tip, and I really want to use the bullet tip. And I'm taking the dark crumb cake, and I'm just, remember how I said Stampin' Up! Does the work for us by telling us where to shade things? And so on those little bumps and grooves where they have the shading, that's where I just colored. I just kind of traced that. And now I'm just gonna add a little bit of the light here. Kind of blend it in a little bit. There we go. Now let's do his body. So I'm going to take the dark petal pink, and I'm going to do around the edges of him. Do his little nose. I will probably go back and add more to his nose after the ink has soaked in a little bit, because I'm going to want it to be just a little bit darker. I do wish they had come out with dies for this set, because I just think they'd be so darn cute. I love, this is probably my favorite one in this set, the pig on the little scooter. I just think he's adorable. Okay, now I want to add just a little bit more dark here for the shading. And now I'm going to pull that dark in by using the lighter petal pink. He's just so cute. I can't resist him. It's the chubby little belly, I think, that gets me all excited and goofy. Okay. Okay. So now let's go back to the cake and do those little swirlies again. There we go. And there's our little piggy. So now what I'm going to do, let's put my pens away, just because they take up a lot of room when I have them all out. And I'm going to mount the basic white cardstock onto the petal pink cardstock. And this is just going to give me a small mat. By the way, I forgot to tell you that I used my stitched rectangle dies. Let me show this to you. I used my stitched rectangle dies to cut out the basic white layer. I really like these dies. They give a nice stitched edge look, but they have so many different sizes and they will nest so you can layer them. So yeah, this is a great set of versatile dies. Right, Kathy? Now you have to get it. It's just, you just have to. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and mount these onto one another, basically just like this, okay? So, put a little adhesive on the back of the first one. Put a little adhesive on the back of the second one. And now we're going to just mount this right onto the card. Trying to make sure I have it straight. There we go. Now for a final touch on here, because you know, as if this wasn't cute enough, right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Shimmery Crystal Effects, and I've used this before. If you're not familiar with it, basically it comes out with kind of the consistency of a liquid glue, and it will settle on its own. So even if it's kind of like when you're done filling it in and you pull it away, it's got kind of like a little Hershey's Kiss top on it. It will flatten itself out. Welcome, Shelly. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and trace around the edge of my balloon. Fill it in good. Now, it does look kind of milky when it first, when you first do it. It does clear up, because you can see in the one I did before, it's clear and shiny. Whereas this one I just did is very milky looking. Tracy, I don't think the Crystal Effects was discontinued. I'm going to be really embarrassed if it was. Let me look really quick. I hope not. That would make me so sad. So sad. Now, another thing about Crystal Effects, do not touch it while it dries, because it will leave like a finger imprint. And, oh, it is retired. You guys, I'm so sad. I'm so sad. Well, hopefully you have some in your own personal stock now. But it still was a very cute card even without the Crystal Effects. So you can see what that looks like. But don't, if you have some and you use this, don't touch it, because it will leave fingerprints and things like that, and you're not going to like the way it dries. So make it and then set it aside like overnight. Give it a good chance to dry. Cheryl's joined us. Welcome, Cheryl. Good to see you. So anyway, there is our first card, which I am going to set aside somewhere else so that I don't put something on top of that balloon and stick something in it and make it all yucky. Okay, so thank you, Cheryl. Cheryl says, cute card. All right, now this one I actually made for a card challenge that I did, where they gave us the basic design of the card, and then it was up to us to come up with something. So this is what I came up with for this card. Yes, liquid gold. That's the way to do it, Tracy. You just, you have it, and fortunately, a little goes a long way, so you'll have it for a while. Okay, so anyway, so this is this card. It also uses the paper from the Host Rewards or Stampin' Rewards. And we're using a couple other things with it. So let me show you what we've got here. This is the card. And we are going to use the Glad We're Friends stamp set. I love this, and as soon as I saw this set, I knew I had to get it because my parents have a corgi and my son has guinea pigs. So regardless of anything else that was in the set, I had to get this because of those two stamps. Ironically, I didn't use either of them in this card. I'm also using the Stripes and Splatters embossing folder, and I believe this is in the mini catalog, the January through June mini catalog. Oh, and that's my chamois that I'm not quite sure why I grabbed it. So let me show you what we're doing here. Let's start with our envelope. Again, my strip is 2.5 by 6 inches. Don't go too crazy with the glue like I did last time because you don't want it squishing out everywhere. Right, Robin? Robin says, what's cuter than the guinea pigs? I know, and I've been dying to get a guinea pig stamp just because of my son and his guinea pigs. So I was very excited by that, and he was too. I showed it to him. My son, by the way, is 22, so we're not talking about a small child. But he was very excited to see it too. Every now and then I get him to make a card, and his thing is he makes the card as truly awful as he possibly can. That's his artistic statement, and it's just a riot watching him stamp. Okay, I got a little extra glue on there, so I'll just use my glue eraser later to get that off once it's dry. I really love this paper. I know I've mentioned that already several times, but I really love this paper. Okay, my scissors are getting all gluey. I'm gonna have to clean them off. Hey Eric, welcome. Okay. All right, so got my envelope ready. Let's set it aside so it can dry. Okay, now this doesn't have a ton of pieces to it, so it should go together pretty quickly. This one I cut the half sheet lengthwise, so it's 4 1/4 by 11, and I scored it at 5 1/2 right down the middle. Okay, I lost my bone folder. There it is. How do you lose things you just had in your hand? I do it all the time. Okay, so card front right there. I have to remind myself what I did on the inside. Okay, so let's get started with the inside of the card. I've got my basic white, and I've got just a narrow little strip of this stripy paper. So we'll glue that on. Little bit of liquid glue. Okay, that looks like it's pretty close to straight. And then of course I fiddle with it and make it crooked, because that's what I do. Okay, so got that part. Let's go ahead and glue it down. Exactly, Robin. I do have a tendency to lay down in my ink pads, and I make messes. I'm like Pigpen, you know, in the Peanuts gang, where I swear the messes just come to me. I don't even have to do anything. I don't even have to go to them. They come to me. That's my superpower. Okay, so there's the inside. Got that done. Now we'll do the outside, the front. And what I'm going to do is I have this strip of Daffodil Delight, and I've got my 2 little stripey strips. Stripey strips, that's kind of fun to say. And I'm just going to line them up here on the Daffodil Delight. Want to make sure that these are lined up so they look like they're the same length. And I intentionally cut strips where it would be different colors next to each other, so it wasn't just one continuation of color. If you prefer the continuation of color, these strips are 3/4 of an inch wide. You could just cut one strip that's 1.5 inches and then cut it down the center, and then your stripes would match. But I liked the idea of them being a little bit different. So, okay. Then I also have this strip here. This is, I ran it through with the embossing folder, what is it called? The Stripes and Splatters embossing folder. I have this strip. It's just a little scrap piece. We're going to stamp the kitty on there. And then I have a circle that I used, that I cut out of vellum using these new dies that we have called Stylish Shapes. These are kind of fun because you get squares and circles, and then you also get these banners. So, you know, I have my layering circles that I love, 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 love. But this gives me a few more sizes, and it does have this stitched edges, which is nice. Okay, so let's get started here. We'll start by mounting this piece like that. Yep, Robin, my stripey strips. Like I said, it's just fun to say, you know, and as an adult, there are too many things that we have to do that just aren't fun, that we might as well find the fun in the little things, right? Okay, got that piece on there. Now I have my little piece of the Daffodil Delight that I ran through with the embossing folder, and we're just going to put a little bit of foam adhesive on here. I want to see something really quick. Yep, that's okay. So you can just use dimensionals. You can use a foam adhesive strip. Let's see. I think I will actually, I'm going to use the edge of my dimensionals. Don't forget that this foam works for your edges or for your dimensionals as well, not just the little octagonal pieces. So don't let this go to waste. Okay, now I'm just going to put this on here, right down the middle, peel off the back. And then I just put it over the front of my card. Make sure it's straight. There we go. Got that piece. Now I'm going to wait to do my vellum here. Let's go ahead and stamp the kitty for a moment. Okay. Stamp her on there. I love how self-satisfied this little kitty looks. I mean, look at that. Look at that little smirk on her face. Love it. I love me a good smirk. Okay. Now for this, I colored the cat using the crumb cake. I have a little bit of the pink for the ear. And then I also have the Daffodil Delight for the crown. So let's get started on the crown. Again, I'm going around the edges so I get the dark. And if you just let that sit for a while, it actually, see that little white spot in the middle? It closes up quite a bit because the ink starts to soak into the paper a little better. Okay. Get that blended really well. Okay. Now I'm going to do my little ears. I just used the light petal pink, but I think I should have gone with the darker one, so I'm just going to go over it with the darker one. It's just a little bit pinkier. Now take my dark crumb cake, and I'm going to go around the edges here. And as you can see, I just kind of scribble it. You don't have to be super duper precise. I mean, you still want to stay in the lines, but it's not like there's a real precision involved in this. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the light crumb cake, and I'm going to start bringing in the dark from the edges. I don't know why it's so satisfying when the pen squeaks like this. I've heard somewhere that when it squeaks, that means you're pressing too hard. But I get such satisfaction out of it, I just can't help myself. Okay, so there's our kitty. I may want to go in and add a little dark once that soaks in a little bit. We'll see how it looks after it's had a little bit of a chance to soak in. So now I'm going to get some of this excess glue off of my scissors because I'm going to do some fussy cutting. Okay. I think I cut that a little bigger down there than I want, but I can trim it after I'm done with my fussy cutting. I'm going to have to do a lot of trimming. I seem to be going kind of crazy with the halo tonight. That's okay. Easy to fix. So I got my puppy all signed up for, I'm not kidding, this is what the program is called, Puppy Kindergarten. And I cannot wait because he has some horrible habits that we just have not been able to break him of. And I'm kind of getting to my wit's end. Like, you know how puppies bite and nip at you and that's just how they play? But you have to break them of that because you don't want them, well, first of all, they have little shark teeth. Their teeth are so sharp. But you also don't want them doing that as they get bigger because they could hurt somebody. Not that it doesn't hurt now. So, gosh, we have tried just about everything to get the little booger to stop biting us. And I mean, I have some pretty not nice wounds from his little shark teeth. So I'm hoping that our little puppy kindergarten will help us to acquire the skills that we, as his parents, need to get him to, stop eating us. And he also likes to nip it like your clothing, pulling that. The other day I was standing there talking to my husband. I was wearing my pajamas. And a moment later, I was not wearing my pajamas. Phineas just came up and grabbed my pants and pulled them off, which, was funny when I was standing there talking to my husband. Not necessarily something I'd like to have happen, if we had company, for example. Okay, now let's trim this down just a little bit. There we go. There. I don't like the way it looks down here on the bottom, but I don't want to trim it so much that I cut into the image. So, okay, there's our kitty. Exactly, Robin. The baby keeps trying to eat me. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and glue this down onto my vellum circle. Just put it right there, kind of in the center. Actually, I want to make sure okay. The little stitched dot things around the edges, there's a front and there's a back, and I wanted to make sure I was doing it the right direction. Now I want to put some dimensionals on here because I do want to pop it up. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put the dimensionals right where the cat is, so then you don't see them through the vellum. And I just want it to look like, it's almost like the cat is sitting on that Daffodil Delight strip. Just like that. And then I'm going to take these solid faceted gems. These are new, and these are amazing. They are so much fun. They're shiny, but they're not sparkly, and you get 6 different colors. So I like these. They're a lot of fun. And I'm going to find my Take Your Pick tool. And we're just going to put a few of these petal pink gems on. Let's see. Let's put one right about there. Now we'll do small ones too. One right about there. I like to get these ones that are, that it seemed to have roamed away from their home. And put one right about there. And there we go. There's our card, you guys. Ta-da! Oh, I need to stamp the inside of the card. I forgot to do that. So let's do that really quickly. And for this, I'm using the stamp that says, "A friend like you comes along once in 9 lives." And I'm going to stamp this down at the bottom. And it's totally crooked, which is why you're supposed to stamp before you mount everything on the card. What Not to Do by Heather Sides. Robin, thank you. Robin says, what a cute card. So we have that card with our envelope. Card number 2 is in the books. Okay, are you guys ready for our last card? This one is fairly simple, and I'm using the Lovely and Lasting stamp. I'm actually using the bundle, and the bundle comes with this stamp set as well as this punch, which fits to punch this little tag out, and I love that. Okay, so let's go ahead and make our card. This one is actually pretty quick and easy. Here's the card. And it's sort of a fun fold. I'll show you what we're doing here. Okay, so, and this paper is, I forgot to write down what designer series paper this is, but it's one of the new ones. Let's go ahead and start with our envelope. Oops. Isn't that gorgeous designer series paper, you guys? This is one where you can do very, very little stamping because this paper just speaks volumes, does the work for you. Okay. No, this isn't the Sun Prince one. I know what one you're talking about, though. I can look here in just a moment and tell you what it's called. So I've got that on there. Let's trim off the extra. Okay. Set that aside. Is that what it's called, Robin? Pretty Prints? Okay, so this, what I did is I took my normal half a sheet of cardstock like I would use for a card where it's 8.5 by 5.5 and scored in the middle. But then I cut off all but a quarter of, or an inch and a quarter on this side. So if I were to fold it, you can see this part of the card, this much of the card is missing. Oh, there's my bone folder. So go ahead and close it. Okay, now I have a piece of the designer series paper and it's patterned on both sides. So make sure that you get, you know, depending on what designer series paper you use, sometimes the front and the back don't coordinate really well. So you want to make sure you get one that does coordinate well or that you like both sides, because we're going to stick it in here and when you open the card you're going to see the other side of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some adhesive here. Okay, and I'm going to line it up with this side of the card because you want it to be just slightly less than a quarter of a sheet, because if you make it 4.25 by 5.5, it's going to run into where that crease is and it won't line up quite right. So I just trimmed off about 1/8 of an inch and then I fold this over, and then it doesn't matter. No one's going to know that it isn't the same size, really. Doesn't matter. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I have this strip. I have 2 of these strips. One is 1 inch wide. I think one's slightly bigger than the other. It's what I meant to do anyway, so let's take a look and see if that is true. It is not true. They are the same. They are both 7/8 of an inch. Okay, got a little bit of an edge sticking up here. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do, let's do the inside of the card. I've got edges sticking up again, so let's get rid of that. You know how that bugs me. Okay, and I'm just going to take one of these strips, but this time I want this pattern to stick up because it's going to match the inside of the card. That makes sense? So we want to put our adhesive here on this piece. And it's got just a tiny bit of a border. And we can go ahead and glue this to the inside of the card. Now the inside is done. Okay, now to do the front, what we're going to do is let's go ahead and do this strip, and we're going to use, we want the back side again to be what shows up. Pretty Prints, Robin looked it up, and it's Pretty Prints Designer Series paper. Thank you, Robin. Okay. And I'm just going to line it up on my basic white here with a tiny bit of a margin. There we go. And then I'm taking some of my silver twine, I think it's called. It's got a little bit of curl to it, so I'm trying to straighten it out a little. It makes it easier to tie. And what we're going to do is we're going to wrap it around twice. I'm going to show you a little tip, because this twine is sort of hard to work with in my opinion, but it makes such beautiful cards. So what I do, let's try to get this, is I'm going to pull it tight like this. Just hold it with my thumb for a moment. I'm going to set it right here just so that it doesn't get away from me. I should have got my tear and tape out before I wrapped it, but that's okay. Woo! I don't need a piece that big. And now I've got it everywhere. And I'm just going to tape this down. It'll keep it from moving all over, oops, while I'm trying to tie the bow. There we go. Now, let's just tie our little bow here. It's not very even, is it? Oh, that could be bad. Gosh darn it. Okay. Set that over here. Let's try this again. This is why I don't use this twine a whole lot, because it is sort of frustrating. But gosh, like I said, it gives such a pretty effect though. Okay. I'm probably making this way more difficult than I need to, but as you know, that's what I do. Ugh. Okay, we're just going to try it this way. Okay. Now this way, wherever we tie it, we'll just move it around. Okay. So I'm going to just tie a little bow. Talina's here with less hair. Just for clarification, she got a haircut, not a waxing. Okay. Now you got to kind of play with your bow to make sure, you know, the loops are the same size and all that stuff. That's another thing this ribbon does, is it gets kind of twisty, and it's not always easy to work with. Now, a tip that I have heard is to iron it before you use it. Just put like a paper towel over it and iron it, and that helps so that it's not quite so twisty turny. I don't like how it's doing that. That bothers me. Ugh. Oh, you guys, this is killing me. Okay. Try this again. Pray for me. Normally, I really don't have a whole lot of problem tying bows, but with this stuff, I have my challenges. Maybe I should have made it a little longer so that I had a little more to work with. Because I do find when you cut a little extra, it's easier to tie the bow. Oh, poop. I just pulled the bow all the way through, or the loop all the way through. This is killing me, you guys. It's killing me. Okay. Yes, it is kind of unforgiving, Talina. And it just, yeah, it's tough to work with. But like I said, but it gives such beautiful results that I'm a glutton for punishment. We were doing so good for time here until it came to this silly little bow. Okay. Now I can't find the little tail. There we go. The tail's trying to go another direction, and you know what? That might just be what I have to do with it, is let it stay that way. Okay. Now I'm just rolling this over so that my bow is kind of off to the side, not right in the center. Okay. Another thing that I often do when I'm using this trim is I'll use a glue dot to hold the bow in place, because it also will hold it down in the way that I want it to lay. So that is very helpful. So let's put a little glue dot on there. You like how I said this was a quick and simple card and then spent 20 minutes trying to tie a bow? So I just put the glue dot right there on the back. Oops. Okay. Need to trim this so that they're the same length, basically. Okay, so, whew, okay, now, because I want this to kind of lay flat on my card and not be bulky where the trim is, let me show you what I did to pop it up on my card. I used my foam adhesive strips. I just put one on each side of the trim. I'm finding myself using these strips more and more, which I love it when I figure out ways to use the products that I have more than I was using them, especially if I wasn't using them a lot. So I'm kind of excited about that. This is a little bit long, so I'm going to trim it down just a tad. There we go. I probably could have gotten away with not even having it there at all, but okay, so now I'm going to peel off the back. And we're going to put that right here. There we go. So we've got that part done. Now this one I just wanted to point out. I had a lot longer tails and was able to make a bigger bow, and I kind of liked the way it turned out. It just kind of scrolled around. So you may want to try it with more of the trim. Okay, then I have this little scrap here, and I used Versamark ink because we're going to heat emboss on this next step. So the stamp is that little frame that I showed you. Ink it up with the Versamark. Stamp it. Clean off my stamp. Now I have a little piece of scrap paper, just because it makes it easier for collecting and putting away the extra embossing powder. So I'm just going to pour this is silver embossing powder, by the way, and I am pouring it right over my stamped image. Now I'm going to shake off the extra. And what I need to get is a little fine paintbrush, because you can use it to get these little extra bits off where you don't want them. And you don't have to worry about, getting fat fingers in the way. Okay, so now I'm going to put the extra away. Now this is going to get loud for just a moment, but the magic of watching the powder melt is so exciting. If you have never heat embossed before, the way you know that it's done in the area you're working on is it goes from being powdery looking to being shiny. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and punch this out. Oh, Talina, that would have been awesome. Okay, so now I'm just going to line it up in there. Helps if you don't have shaky hands. So don't drink a ton of coffee before you need to do this. And now we have our little frame with the silver edge. Now I'm going to take my Blackberry Bliss ink, and I'm just going to stamp Thinking of You on the inside. It's a really pretty font. You know what? I'm still going to do that. I was thinking about changing the sentiment, but I'll just do this again. There we go. Even got it straight. How exciting is that? Okay. Put my ink pad away for safety purposes. And now I want to pop this up with some dimensionals. And pull those backs off. And I'm just going to stick it down here in the lower corner. And let's add a few basic rhinestones just to give it just a little bit of extra sparkle. So let's put one right about there, and there, and there. There we go. Now that card is done. Let me put this away and then we'll take a peek at it. So we've got our envelope and the card here. Thank you, Mary. Mary says they were all nice cards. This is nice and easy. You get to see both sides of your DSP. And there we go. So let me clean up my mess here a little bit and we'll just kind of take a second peek at all the cards we made tonight. Woo, now I'm throwing stuff around. Okay, so we have the one we just made. I like the one with the bigger bow a little bit better. But that's just me. We have our pretty kitty here, Royalty. And then we have our cute little birthday piggy. I have the one we made set off to the side so that I don't put stuff in it, on it. Let's see here. See, got it right there. So that's everything that we made tonight. I hope you enjoyed stamping with me tonight. And Talina says that's her new favorite punch, the one that made this little frame. And I have to agree with you. I really like it. I like the size of it. Anyway, if you like what you saw tonight, if you enjoyed that, I would love it if you'd send some hearts or some thumbs up. Share, by all means, share the video in your own feed. You never know who might be interested in seeing some stamping videos. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can like it there. You can also subscribe to my channel, and if you hit the little bell icon, you'll be notified when I put new videos up, and I always upload these live videos to YouTube as soon as we're done here. So if you want to purchase some of the things I used tonight, or if you need to stock up on other products, I would love the opportunity to earn your business. You can shop at heathersides.stampinup.net. And if you would use this host code, if your order is under $150, if you would use this host code, that helps me to continue to provide these videos and prizes for free. If your order is over $150, please don't use this host code. You'll have some rewards coming to you from Stampin' Up, and I want to make sure that you get them. Also, if you need to contact me for any reason, you can do so here on Facebook through a private message, or you can email me at stamphappenings@gmail.com. Hope you all had a great night, and I hope you have a wonderful upcoming week, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.